Okay, good evening, everybody. Monday again. I was logged in the Telegram there for a second. Chico's barking already. We got a summer day today. And I wrote on the post again, you guys. You're not going to believe it's like a marathon of news out there. So make sure everybody, you guys, watch the first show I did this afternoon. Chico! So, squaws. I got your lady video tonight. Chico!
Thank you for your ballot.
Chico!
On Saturday,
Lucy the only one in so far. Tim! Chico, come in here right now. Come on. So I guess Friday, Obama was in Chicago. I think they were all speaking on Friday. We're going to play that first one on. Uh, that's too long.
since QCPD's inception in 2022, there have been more.
We'll play Megan Kelly's one.
I want to spell out what happened. This group
14 minutes on the first video. Is involving New York City. Chico, you done? Get in here. KK. Did you read my post? I got another copyright again.
That shall take place.
Yeah, I figured you were. What's the little one doing? What if she heard Chico been barking outside? We got a summer day out there today. The windows are open, so yeah, I made up my pork chops. So we're going to do the first 114 on the update from New York City, what happened from yesterday. And then we'll do all the short videos. And then Squash should be coming in, Kay. We got Mel, 47. I did Billy this afternoon. So I guess it's ding ding time. So we'll go ahead and get the first one in.
The bottom of a well.
I want to spell out what this group goes to Gracie Mansion in New York City, outside of Gracie Mansion, which is where Mamdani is living and where all New York mayors live. And they started a protest. Hold on, I'm trying to look for the name of it. Here it is. The Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City protest and Stop New York City Public Muslim Prayer. 20 people showed up. Okay, so it's a small thing.
14 about
it's a group of
yesterday.
people who they don't like the Muslim takeover in New York as they see it, and they're out there protesting. Jake Lang was one of the participants. He was front and center during the Minneapolis protest too. He was arrested for J6 prior to that. The New York Post, which is not biased against conservatives, writes that he is a conservative right-wing influencer. That's how they describe him. And he was definitely there and part of that group. Then the counter-protesters showed up. They called their group Run the Nazis Out of New York City, Stand Against Hate. I think the Nazis are the first group, in their view, who are opposed to, the Muslim call to prayer being broadcast 5 times a day in New York. And they had about 125 protesters. So they had way more, 5 times as many or so than the other side. What happened? 2 protesters from the counter-protest, from the Stop the Nazis rally.
You settle now. You'll lay on the couch.
Shouted Allahu Akbar and tossed 2 homemade devices into a crowd. An IED filled with nails that failed to go off. And now we're getting the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch. Is this cut, Deb? Commenting on it in particular. Yeah, I think we have this. And let's listen to the police commissioner describe what they've discovered so far.
I can confirm this morning that this is being investigated as an act of ISIS-inspired terrorism. I can also provide some additional information building on my remarks from Saturday evening. At that time, we were beginning to conduct preliminary analysis of 2 devices that were ignited and deployed earlier that day. Preliminary test results determined that these were not hoax devices nor smoke bombs. They were improvised explosive devices that could have caused serious injury or death. Part of our initial investigation was to determine what energetic substance, if any, was used in the 2 devices. And our analysis showed that one of the devices deployed by the subjects contained the substance triacetone triperoxide, known as TATP. Now, TATP is a dangerous and highly volatile homemade explosive that has been used in IED attacks around the world.
So both devices were IEDs in an act of ISIS-inspired terrorism right here on the homeland in New York City. And this, but for the listening audience, Zohran Mamdani was standing right next to her as she made those comments. So he's heard it all. But what we've heard from the mayor so far amounts to the following post on X, which was a day after the attacks. The attacks happened on Saturday. Thank God, by the way, they did not detonate and nobody was hurt. Thank God. But they easily could have. I mean, it's basically a nail bomb. And a day passes and he posts the following on Sunday. I'm going to read it in full because it's so outrageous. Yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. Such hate has no place in New York City. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. Okay, so first of all, he's begun with white supremacy, alleged white supremacy. He's literally just seen police who are on the receiving end of that bomb throw attacked with an IED. And his lead is, there's someone I consider to be a white supremacist outside of Gracie Mansion, and that's bigotry and racism and has no place in New York City. Then he gets to the second piece, which is obviously the most important, and completely whiffs on who did what to whom and who said what as they did it, like Allahu Akbar. All right, he writes, violence and approach. He goes right from, okay, it's an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. What followed was even more disturbing, but he doesn't say it, like who did it and what they yelled. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. The attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, it's reprehensible, and the antithesis of who we are. I want to thank the brave men and women of the NYPD who acted quickly to help keep New Yorkers safe. Where is the part about ISIS-inspired terrorists shouting Allahu Akbar, throwing an IED at cops? We have video of one of the devices and of the moment.
Come on.
Let's watch it. SOT 6.
Yo, this nigga threw
There's
a bomb, bro. Yo, he threw a bomb. Yo, did he throw a bomb, bro?
It's right there on camera. You can see the guy run, throw the bomb, and shout Allahu Akbar. There's another video that's similar.
Stop it.
And yeah, wait a minute. Is that, here he is? Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Stu. Mom Donnie did speak this morning.
Settle down. I guess that's all we'll play on that. Unless you guys want me to watch the whole thing. He's going hyper right now. Well, Pittsburgh. That's enough. Okay, let's play. See what this one is. Oh. 4 minutes.
HG Construction, and I'm a contractor here in California, and I'm coming back from Pacific Palisades. I'm going to give you some information. Probably we talked about this before, but I want to make it abundantly clear. The city and the county of LA want to turn Pacific Palisades into almost 50% affordable housing. They're literally slow playing this situation at a pace that really barely 15% of the homes, of the 7,000 homes that were lost in the fire, are under construction. Over 5,000 homes have yet to get a permit. I'm trying to land a house or two down there to build. I have a little, I guess what you might say, leaner, greener way to build a house. But more importantly, if you go to HG Construction PilePro.com, that's HG Construction PilePro.com, you can watch me build a house that was lost in the Thomas Fire back in 2020, 2021. I know exactly what needs to be done. My company is soup to nuts. We will help you. I will sit down with the owner, help them for the most part, design the home, get what pretty much, let me put it to you this way. I will sit down with them and work off the clock and put what they want the house to look like, inside and out. Then, once we got that kind of that picture painted, then I will put it on a set of plans and go from there. And eventually, once we build a house, we'll hand them the keys and we're good to go. This is going to work, but the building and safety, gee, it's just terrible. Here's the thing. Here's the news I want to give you. Back in 2020, when the Thomas Fire in Ventura County went burned up 700 homes, the Building and Safety Department of the city of Ventura hired about a dozen plan checkers outside that helped them take the load and quicken the pace. Once I got my plans submitted, I had my permit in 3 weeks. Now, here's the thing I want folks to understand, and maybe many people might or might know, I don't know. But in the Pacific Palisades alone, 7,000 homes were burnt down. Okay? 7,000 properties, actually. Okay? About 90, 92, 94% were lost. That were lost were actually residential. Okay? The other 6 or 8% was commercial. But more importantly, I want folks to understand they're slow playing this on purpose because they want to turn 40% of the properties lost into. In fact, I'm on PCH right now. It's a mess. They want to turn 40% of the properties lost into affordable housing. 40, 50% they can do it. How are they doing that without people asking, what's going on? What's going on is, in comparison, Ventura hired a dozen plan checkers to speed up the process for 700 homes that were burnt down. In the 7,000 homes that were burnt down, or properties that were burnt down in Pacific Palisades, LA County and City Building and Safety hired only a dozen plan checkers as well. Only a dozen for 7,000 homes. That, I'm telling you what, does that make sense? Do you understand what that is? They're slow playing on purpose, and that's how they're slow playing. This is basically a rape of the system. That's the best way I can tell you. I'm here to help. Please go to hgconstructionpilepro.com. You can actually watch me build a house that burnt down in the Thomas fires. God bless. Give us a call. Hey, everybody. HG and H.
Okay, the latest one there. I got that Christina talking about Hillary's got to pay something.
Most is.
I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. Hillary Clinton is being ordered to return $50 million of the money she received from foreign entities related to the Clinton Foundation during her time at the State Department. According to U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, quote, she used her position to divert taxpayer money to her personal funds. This is a blatant corruption and maximum abuse of power. Okay, here are the facts. During Clinton's State Department years, the foundation received tens of millions of dollars from overseas donors, including governments like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Norway. The contributions coincided with state approvals for arms deals or other diplomatic decisions, raising suspicions of quid pro quo. For example, a $1 million gift from Qatar in 2012 came at the same time as the Clintons' advocacy for U.S. policy shifts in the Middle East. The 2010 approval of a deal allowing a Russian state-owned company to acquire control of U.S. uranium assets coincided with another large donation. Foundation donors with stakes in the transaction contributed over $145 million fueling claims that Clinton's role in the approval process was tainted by conflicts of interest. Post-2010 earthquake, the foundation pledged massive aid to Haiti but mismanaged those funds. Contracts allegedly favored Clinton allies, such as a $124 million deal for a luxury hotel, while little trickled down to locals. Reports from Haitian officials have called Clinton out for using Haiti to enrich herself and leave the locals high and dry. That's what you need to know. In Dallas, Christina Awaya.
Okay.
Because the real timeline, the one they've been hiding for 10 years, was something like this. Hillary Clinton panics over her email scandal. She teams up with a Soros-linked outfit and cooks up the Russian Gate hoax. They hand it off to the intelligence agencies under Obama. The FBI and CIA spy on her political opponent, the Republican nominee. Then they launder the fake intelligence to try to destroy the duly elected president of the United States. They kept that operation running for 4 straight years. Some members of the Senate Judiciary Committee pushed the hoax the entire time. Then the Hunter Biden laptop drops. The FBI had already verified it was real in November 2019. They sat down with social media companies week after week, month after month, and told them it was Russian disinformation. They pre-bunked it so the American people would never see the truth before the election. Joe Biden is sworn in. 3 days later, a full-blown censorship campaign kicks off against every conservative voice in the country. Next, the FBI launches Arctic Frost, wiretapping sitting U.S. senators, including Schmidt and Ashley Moody, and the Republican Attorneys General Association. Why? Because they worked with Charlie Kirk's groups. This wasn't the Soviet Union in the 1980s. This was America in the last few years. Next, Trump announces he's running again. 3 days later, Jack Smith is appointed. Fani Willis files charges. Alvin Bragg files charges. Even a number 3 official at the DOJ quits to join the hunt. They never forgave him for that escalator ride. For 10 years, they didn't just go after Trump. They branded half the country as fascists, Nazis, deplorables, bitter clingers, and trash. They fueled the hate because they couldn't accept that the American people watched the whole show, sat in their own jury box, and rejected. Now someone is here to finally clean it up. There's a massive difference between the weaponization that happened under the Biden regime and actually holding those people accountable. That is not weaponization. And what's happening with the assaults on ICE officers is truly shocking. Bill Clinton deported 12 million people and nobody rioted. The radicalization on the left and the political violence that comes with it is real. The American people who seek or acknowledge the truth already know every single one of these facts. Now the only question left is, will there finally be accountability? Or will the hunted stay the hunted?
Okay, our mask guy. One lady on TikTok I haven't played in a while. She has 2 good ones here. They're short ones.
And does a lot of interviews and tells you exactly what the whole philosophy is behind what she's doing. So how about we do just a little media series looking at some of these interviews and just seeing what he says himself, actually. And he told us. So he basically says, and we'll look at his words in this Vanity Fair interview, he essentially says that the whole philosophy behind Candace Owens is divisiveness. She fills in that slot for daytime talk shows. She fills in the slot for the old Ricky Lake and the old Oprah. And she is the daytime talk shows for millennial moms. That's essentially what he says, which, all due respect, there's nothing really wrong with that, except this is being marketed as it's an actual investigative series into an actual widow and her actual husband that was murdered in front of people. So anyway, let's Let's look into his words. Controversy and irreverence have always been what works. That's how he drives attention. Oh, he goes on to say, some people have accused me of being a part of the degradation of Western culture or whatever, which I take as a compliment. And now specifically about Candace, he says, Jackson's guiding philosophy is that divisiveness is key, which Owens shares. Some people have to love you, but some people have to hate you, he argues. The secret to longevity in the spotlight is leaning into the controversy. These people who hate her send out clips every week to the 10 same Twitter accounts are really helpful for promoting the show. I don't want them to stop. And then he says, Owens has a very pure vision when it comes to content. She follows her interests every day. It's a surprise. What people don't understand about Candace is her audience is millennial moms. She has taken the place in culture. Like her show comes out at 4 p.m. Eastern. So she's like the Oprah or Ricky Lake. She's the daytime television for millennial moms. And then again, he says, numbers, numbers, numbers. We like numbers. We're winning because numbers and fame and number one. So I believe that Candace started working with Mitchell around when her new show came out after leaving the Daily Wire, somewhere around there. And let me tell you something. You don't hire Mitchell when your goal is truth, when your goal is justice, when your goal is, that is not why you hire Mitchell. You hire Mitchell to take advantage of that controversy and make you as big as possible. So if you are partaking in the Candace Owens show, that's fine. You do that at your will. We all consume exactly what we want to consume. But don't fool yourself into thinking that this is some kind of, you're watching justice. She's the only one telling the truth. What you are watching is a woman whose goal it is to make her podcast as big as possible, whatever means necessary, is what I'm taking away from not only what I see from her show, but also the words that come out of her very own publicist, who, I mean, he is who he is. It's not like, it's some secret thing. He says exactly what the goals are. What have I told you?
Okay, that was part one. Okay. God dang it.
Publicist Mitchell Jackson, who went by a different name back then, was fired from his position at Vice. Now, obviously, this is way long before he started working with Candace. I doubt he even knew her at that point. But let's look into why he got fired. This gives some really interesting insight into how this whole media machine works. Follow me on this one. He was outed by BuzzFeed, who found emails from when he was working at Vice, emailing right-wing provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos to mock somebody that was within the article that he was writing about for Vice. Now, to give you more context, Vice is on the far left, Milo is on the far right. And the reason he did this was because he knew that if Milo Yiannopoulos shared the article, made fun of the person in it, it would ultimately drive more traffic back to his article. You see how he's playing both sides of the aisle there? He basically said, please mock this person from this person, and it will ultimately drive traffic back to our article. That is also why you should never, ever, ever take any of these journalists seriously when they act like they're so offended when someone else says something, when Donald Trump says something, when a Republican says something, because they're all in on it. They're all playing both sides of the aisle. They're all shaking hands behind the scenes when no one's looking, and they're not actually offended. They're just using all of the hysterics to drive and to steal your attention. In 2017.
Okay, I haven't played her in a while. She does a good job. Okay, we got our lady back. She took a day off yesterday. I got 3 of them, I think.
Break from TikTok for a little bit. I had to. I don't know if you've watched the news. I've got some pretty upsetting, unsettling news. You need to pay attention. The United States just now, just a couple hours ago, has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated from Iran that will serve as an operational trigger for sleeper cells. All law enforcement agencies have been notified of this. It was sent to different countries shortly after the death of Ayatollah. The intercepted transmission was encoded and appeared to be destined for clandestine recipients who possess the encryption key, the kind of message intended to impart instructions to covert operatives or sleeper assets. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I took a...
Okay, number 2. I sent you pictures, Kay and Fine Eagle.
Point something out real quick to you. If you're in a huge traffic jam and somebody at the very front of that traffic jam gets out of their vehicle and pulls out something and starts unaliving people in front of you, all the traffic is backed up. Nobody can really back up. Nobody can do anything but hunker down or get out and run and become targets. What are you going to do? What stops a shooter? Is it because they run out of ammo or because they say, well, I'm only going to take out 12 people. I reached my 12. I'm going to stop now. What stops them? The same thing that they have is what stops them. People, you need to wake up. You need to get ready. You need to have water. You need to have gas in your car. You need to have your phones constantly charged. You need to have a backup power source. You need to be your head on a swivel, and you need to be carrying. What's going to protect you when you're sitting in church? You're going to get up under that pew and hope they pass you by and hope they pass your kids by. You better wake up. The video cut off. I had to read.
Hey, I only had 2 today. All right, Fine Eagle, I got this one is 9 minutes. I'm not sure of. Chico!
Police, judges, courts, lawyers, big pharma, big tech, mainstream media, banking cartel, teachers, doctors, nurses, a never-ending list. They're all a part of the cartel. Listen to this very carefully. Think about that there can be up to 99 people and or corporation in each indictment. So I'm going to play you something of this international attorney, lawyer, and he's going to explain to you. And I'm letting you know because there's a lot of people that come on my page that may not even have seen this, but if you have, you're just going to get more about it. Now, this is what it's saying here. Corporations, each indictment, all be prosecuted as one cartel under various charges such as RICO or treason. Gitmo is an international court as well as a military UCMJ court. When you hear someone say you can't have a civilian trial under the UCMJ, know that they do not know what they're talking about. Think of all the cartels Trump talks about. Think about the cartels that attempts to prosecute Trump in his first term. Think about the cartels engaged in J6. Think about the media. Think about how big this is. So I'm just giving you the information. It's up to you to go ahead and check it out. But this is just breaking news. Now this is coming from Quantum X Now Phototherapy. Now this is what they're saying here. Then I'm going to play this for you. All entities have been forewarned numerous times by SCOTUS, June 24th, Chevron, that's a Chevron deficit. Warrant via international court, November 24th. So basically they were told that they had to shut it down and nobody listened. So now it's getting real serious right now. And we need to know what's going on as American people. Now, let me see, it says at least a handful of times by our international postmaster general, A.G. Bondi, when she fired the first warning shots over the bow of the American bar. Treasonous foreign companies against the Republic. Now we are in the Republic, and the Republic is standing. So what you're about to see, and everything has been taken down so that the Republic can stand. And the Republic will stand regardless, because it's time. It's time that everything is given back to you and I, the people, the Americans. Many of us know the saying, love thy neighbor. This could potentially become surreal when your next door spouse are yanked out of their homes in the middle of the night for various serious crimes, including aiding and abetting. Their dependents will have zero idea what will be going on, not to mention their children. This is where we come in for support and edification. Of those previously mentioned above in the comment, have been totally innocent. They have nothing to worry about. With that said, we have the CCP Mockingbird media of the left working on people's mind daily that will twist the narratives to fit their agendas and to ignite a civil war, to which they will fail like everything else. So everything will be difficult, to say the least. So we are about to shift. Now, I'm going to play you this video so that you can hear what's going on.
To have law in the nation, you have to have a court. International law is human rights law and arbitration. That court is the Guantanamo Bay Court of Justice, because it's the International Court of Justice out of The Hague. As I said before, when I said the War of 1812, the Marines are back, and that one got a bunch of views. Marines are back because the redcoats that invaded in 1812 was not the Marine. According to the Supreme Court of the United States ruling in 1930, they classified them and named that cartel organization the Union of the United States. That Union of the United States consisted of the House of Representatives, or members, senators, rogue British officers, naval officers, okay, and financial cartels or financial organizations all together, all right? That was called the Union of the United States. When they burnt the White House down, they destroyed all the land records and all the land patents. When they tried to invade Baltimore, they were trying to get to the birth records at the Basilica. They never got in because they were held Fort McHenry, where the Star Spangled Banner was written. And then they decided to appoint infiltrators into our system, and they left. And that's why we assumed that we won the War of 1812. We didn't win the War of 1812. They left operators, agents. Those agents have subsequently become the financial organizations, or the power organization, subsequently called now the federal government, or key parts of the federal government, the elite, or their operator. Lincoln called them agent, okay? Basically an insurgency. It's been here since 1812, all right? So the International Court of Justice prosecutes for crimes against humanity. But you got to have the International Court of Justice in the North American territory before you can return law. That's how it works. You got to have the court. That court is ran by the United States Marine Corps. That's why it's at Guantanamo Bay. All right. Trump signed an executive order saying that it was against cartels. Everybody assumes it is the drug cartels. Everybody assumes it's drug cartels, not the drug cartels, not just the drug cartels, okay, which they'll probably be given a chance to redeem themselves. All right. But here's what it is. If someone blows the whistle or exercises their rights, and you put together, let's say, 19 people in an organization, when one of the workmen inside that organization blew the whistle on you, and you tortured them, and you violated all their rights, and you ignored them, and you did whatever you wanted, you, as an organization, all 19 people, right here, will be classified as an individual organized cartel that is operating outside of treaties and the International Court of Human Rights and the Geneva Convention. If you did it to somebody who is disabled, that is a crime against the human species. Your organization, your 19 people, because there's 19 people that probably should watch this, that are all together as that organized crime cartel inside as public officers and agents inside the government or inside the public organization, that's the cartel. And all 19 will be prosecuted as one individual. And all 19, or they're affiliated, will be treated all the same under the International Court of Justice and Justice in Guantanamo Bay. And they're going to need veteran prosecutors or International Bar Association members. And if it was reported to you and you were law enforcement and you ignored it and tried to investigate the individual that reported it, or because it came to your notice and you did nothing as law enforcement, you are part of that organized cartel because your job is fraud, waste, and abuse, and you failed to do that. So you're now a member. That's how it works. So by having the power to issue declaratory judgments as one group of people, more than one, as a organized operation, syndicate, cartel, every person who participates in gang piles on an individual to destroy their defame them, destroy them, publicly humiliate them, you are part of a cartel. So if like you have an ex-wife who wants to steal everything and then they get with their attorneys who want to help them and they destroy you and then they collude with the judge and the court officers and all of them, that is a syndicated, a joint individual cartel that will all be treated the same. That's why you have a court of justice. That's what that actually means. And people are going to be prosecuted all over the place. It's not just a politician. There are many cartels. There are numerous cartels. And when they join to each other to destroy someone's reputation or steal everything, that's a cartel. And they get judges involved or they get law enforcement involved or the law enforcement refuses to do a proper investigation on fraud, waste, and abuse, they're now a member. And they will all be treated as one individual. And they will have to present their representative for all of them as one united, individual, organized cartel.
He was on a different show on the guy that we normally play there. All right, I'm going to do some short ones. And squads, we got 47 minutes on your favorite. I won't play this 12-minute one. I think this is Canada. Chico.
Not from the market, not from oil companies, from an unelected board that nobody in the state ever voted for. The California Air Resources Board. 16 members, every single one appointed by our boy Gavin Newsom. Not one of them ever appeared on your ballot. Not one of them has ever worried about filling up their tank. And the comment period on this new regulation closes Monday, 2 days from now. Most Californians have no idea this is happening, which is exactly how they want it. Let me show you the math they don't want you to see. Bay Area gas right now is about $5.39 to about $5.99. The war in Iran, UC Berkeley said this week we've only seen half the crude oil spike at the pump. The rest is still coming at 60 cents. The summer blend switchover happens every year like clockwork at 15 cents. CARB's new cap and invest amendments, California's own nonpartisan analysts ran the numbers at 74 cents. That's $7.38 per gallon average by the summer. I was filming at $6.79 in Menlo Park just last week. We're already at $8 per gallon. Sacramento just hasn't told you yet.
Program sets a cap on pollution in California. In short, it requires large polluters like oil companies to buy credits to cover their emissions. The money they pay for those credits is then invested in clean energy and climate-related projects.
That's the existing program. Cap and Invest used to be called Cap and Trade, and that existing program already costs you 23 cents per gallon right now, every single time you fill up. Now they want to make it stricter. Tighten the cap, remove 118 million allowances from the market, force the last refineries in California to pay even more just as they open. Compliance costs for California's remaining refineries could hit $1.5 billion by the year 2035. You think that money comes out of Chevron's pocket? Hell no. It comes out of yours at the pump every time you fill up.
Those costs, Chevron says, will, quote, cripple the survivability of the state's remaining refineries, all in a state where Valero and Phillips 66 have already announced at least 2 refinery closures.
They know refineries are already leaving. They know Valero is gone next month, and they're piling on even more. Now, Sacramento is going to tell you this is about saving the environment. I'm going to destroy that lie right now. When a California refinery closes, does the demand for gas disappear? No, it does not. People still drive, they still fly, they still need diesel for every truck. that brings groceries to your door. So where does the gas come from?
70% of California's gas now comes from foreign nations. 70%. We literally are crushing the energy market in California under the guise of protecting the environment.
70% from foreign countries. South Korea, Singapore, India, yeah, and the Bahamas. I'm not making that up. California was literally importing gas refined in the Bahamas because we destroyed so much of our own refining capacity. We had to beg an island nation to make our gas for us. And those foreign refineries, well, they operate under less environmental regulations in California, obviously. So when Sacramento shuts down a California refinery, the world doesn't get cleaner. The pollution just moves to another country with dirtier standards. Then they load it onto a tanker ship, burning diesel fuel the entire way across the Pacific Ocean and sailed into California. Sacramento calls this climate leadership. But here's the part that proves it's a scam. Under cap and invest, California refineries get hit with a carbon tax. Foreign refineries shipping gas to California, zero tax. None. Zilch. So Sacramento literally made it cheaper to import dirty foreign gas, refined with less environmental standards, shipped here on a diesel tanker than to make clean gas right here in California and employ Californians.
You know, we have the strictest environmental standards in California. Why would we want to have our fuels produced elsewhere where they do not have those standards? It really just doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up because it was never about the environment. It's always about the money. Now, let me tell you what's actually at stake. There are only 7 refineries left in California. 7. California once had over 30. 5 closed just in the last few years. There's only 7 left. And right now, 2 of those 7, Chevron and PBF Energy, have written letters to Gavin Newsom saying these new CARB amendments will finish them off. Chevron's president, Andy Waltz, wrote this directly to Newsom. The proposed regulation will cripple the survivability of the state's remaining refineries, which will result in California losing the entire industry to this misguided program. Losing the entire industry. And PBF Energy, 2 more refineries, said if this passes, in-state refining capacity goes to 0. Not reduced, zilch.
You literally could have foreign conflicts stop the flow of gasoline into our state, and it's not like we can turn and say, okay, well let's get that refinery going again. No, we have no refineries left in California.
And when a reporter asked Chevron's president directly if these amendments pass, is Chevron threatening to leave? His answer was one word: yes. Now think about what Chevron leaving actually means.
Alabama supplies 40% of the jet fuel to LAX, and we supply about 20 to 25% of the gasoline to the motorists in the LA basin. So, you know, a very important piece of infrastructure.
40% of the jet fuel to LAX, gone. 25% of the gas for the entire LA basin, gone. Every flight out of LAX gets a fuel surcharge. Every truck delivering food to every grocery store in Southern California, more expensive. Every Amazon package at your door, more expensive. Everything's more expensive because Sacramento wanted to fund 500,000 new climate projects. 500,000 climate projects. Meanwhile, Chevron's president is using the word emergency.
Closing a refinery is not a reversible decision, okay? So if we close and we move out, we don't come back. I'm extremely worried. I do think we should declare an emergency in the state of California.
An emergency. The president of one of the largest energy companies on earth using the word emergency about your gas supply? And Sacramento is accepting public comments until Monday, like it's a suggestion box at Denny's. Oh, and by the way, CARB is exempt from standard open meeting rules. They manage billions of dollars in carbon auction money behind closed doors. No public oversight, no transparency, billions of dollars unelected, unanswerable. Now, let me show you the timeline I built for you. April 2026, Valero Benicia closes. 9% of California's remaining refining capacity gone forever. The last time California issued a permit to build a new refinery was 1978. There is no replacing it. May 28th, 2026, CARB board votes on their new amendments, the vote that determines whether Chevron stays or goes. September 1st, 2026. If it passes, new regulations kick in. The 74-cent per gallon hammer drops. Compliance costs explode.
Every single day, we're seeing those oil prices go higher. We're seeing the market sell off even more, and more uncertainty about how we find an off-ramp and an end to the war.
There is no off-ramp. Not if Chevron leaves. Not if the last 7 refineries close. The mask mandate didn't work. The homeless policy didn't work. High-speed rail, 20 years and $100 billion, still not built. And this, the most expensive energy policy in American history, is working exactly as designed to destroy your access to affordable fuel, force you into an electric car you can't afford, and collect billions in carbon taxes while they do it.
They want to force us into electric vehicles. This is actually by design. This is intentional.
So here's what you do right now. I'm putting this on a screen. Screenshot it.
Sure.
Submit a public comment to CARB before Monday, March 9th. The website is www.arb.ca.gov. Email capandtrade@arb.ca.gov. Tell them, do not pass amendments that will drive California's last refineries out of the state while gas is already at $5 a gallon. Call Governor Newsom's office, 916-445-2841. Tell him to declare a state of energy emergency. Call your California Assembly member and state senator. You can find them here, legislature.ca.gov. Tell them to oppose these CARB amendments. Hell, call CARB directly, 916-322-2990, and share this video right now before you do anything else. Text it to someone. Post it on Facebook. The only reason Sacramento gets away with this bullshit is because most Californians don't know what's happening. You now know.
Closing a refinery is not a reversible decision, okay? So if we close and we move out, we don't come back. I'm extremely worried. I do think we should declare an emergency in the state of California.
May is when they vote. Monday is when your voice counts. One number before I go, $700. That's what California's own nonpartisan analysts say the average household will pay per year from the CARB amendments alone. It's not my number. It's not DeMaio's number. This is Sacramento's own number. $700 on top of war prices, on top of summer blend, on top of the $1.56 per gallon you're already paying just to live in this beautiful state, on top of Valero closures next month that nobody in Sacramento is losing any sleep over. $700 out of your pocket for gas shipped from the Bahamas on a diesel tanker, refined in a country with dirty standards by an unelected board that nobody voted for, appointed by a governor who calls it climate leadership. Are you kidding me? I came to this country from Iran in 1977 with nothing. I built a life here because California used to be a place where that was possible. These people are taking that California away from all of us. Not with a vote, not with a debate, quietly on a Monday with comments periods most people never even heard about. Please comment by Monday. Call Newsom, call your legislator. And if they vote yes on May 28th, remember every single name in November. I'm Ramin. This is Real Talk.
Well, how was that one, guys? Here's Troublemaker. Here's Troublemaker. You see how Ariella? Huh? All right, we're ready for our big video here. 47 minutes, you guys.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Cameras, there we go. Well, welcome everybody. Has it been, it's so exciting. It's actually kind of crazy back in Australia. Whoa, but I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, a lot did happen that we didn't see. But as Holly did say on her show, there was a lot of good things that happened in the background. So we're going to talk a little bit about that while we're waiting for people to come up and answer their questions. So what did happen on the 28th of February? Well, in the background, we saw some very interesting things happening in the US Treasury. And of course, you would have heard Sizzling Sunday. There was quite a few little things that happened in the 3 to 5 days beginning of March here in Australia. We're seeing a lot of explosive stuff happening in Canada and in the UK. So don't think this is not happening or you're feeling a little bit disappointed, ladies and gentlemen. Rest assured, we will get through this and we're going to go through that process as it occurs. We're only going to have an hour this evening, but only because I've got another show to do for New Zealand. And, of course, we're going to be back again on Wacky Wednesday. So whenever you are ready to start, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you are confident enough to find that little button down there and have a bit of a chat. I can see the Canadians, inside the house as well. They have done some amazing work. What very special people they are. I actually got to catch up with a lovely Canadian. I do apologise for those people in and around California. I did have a short delay in my travels, which put me behind, and I just simply ran out of time. I would have loved to have caught up with some people on the Thursday before I left, but I was extremely pushed with connections and things like that as well. But all in all, what an amazing trip to United States. One of the ones that, as I said, definitely stood out was, of course, Washington, D.C. Spent a couple of times I went through there, and what an amazing journey that was. I met up with some very, very important people. I got to investigate further into the CMKX and, of course, the fines and penalties. I will be catching up with, of course, the Native American group as well from Arizona. So please hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Although it seemed like a bit of a holiday, believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, I did work extremely hard in the background. I can assure you of that. But thank you again for all of those people who invited me into their homes, picked me up, took me for dinners, took me shooting. That was amazing. We went out, of course, to Sedona. That was our first big trip, and boy, was that incredibly amazing as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Tribal Power, congratulations. You are first up. Dun, dun, dun. We've just got to make sure that we can allow you to speak. So Tribal Power, come on down. So yeah. So yes, so it is all up to you, SA. And you're free to talk as well. Tribal Power, it didn't work. Okay, let me have another go. Tribal Power and SA. Dun, dun, dun. And it's quite humid here. So I've gone from snow to humidity of about 86% humidity. You couldn't make it up if you tried, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, CA is in the house as well.
Hi, Mel.
Beautiful.
Tribal
Hello,
Power.
how are you, Tribal Power?
Good.
How's things?
Very good, thanks. Look, just some feedback from you. You've probably heard there's been a lot going on with the Australian Securities Exchange and all their talk about the med beds and so forth. The one thing that really stood out to me was what they mentioned about if you join was about actually scanning your currencies, up to 50 currencies, where it picks up all the serial numbers, and you will have immediate access to those funds. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
I'm tilting my head.
They're sort of saying you don't have to go to any banks, you don't have to do anything, you can do it all from home.
That's risking it for the biscuit, isn't it?
Exactly.
Wow.
I wondered about that.
We did say, just a backline for all of that, honey, is that, as I said, the closer we get to the actual redeeming side of things, these kind of crazy behaviours are going to happen. Yes. So be very, very cautious of that. Use your own discernment. I don't know the group personally. I have heard of stories, but I tilt my head because hopefully one of the boys who's online today, this gentleman is from Canada, and they may or may not share their stories. But yeah, hold on to your seats. But I certainly wouldn't be giving up my currencies with their serial numbers to anyone until this process is set in motion, so to speak. And again, we wait for further instructions. But I do have some little surprises in store depending on how the conversation goes with it tonight. I will be talking a little bit more about some possibilities of what we know about the Zim bonds. And it's always a touchy subject, but I think I worked something out. So we'll see how the subject arises. If it, again, it's got to take certain people to ask certain questions. I cannot tell you, but if certain people ask certain questions, then possibly you can navigate that one, people. Just putting it out there. So, but yeah, and it is very, very big. Believe you me, I take it very seriously. It's no joke. And of course, when I have shared it with people in hierarchies regarding it, they actually all say that it makes logical sense. So, we'll see.
Yeah, because the other thing was to join their A6RV, it says that you needed a Lobster account. Now, last time you didn't have time in the call, somebody mentioned Lobster to you, and I opened a Lobster account going back 18 months to 2 years ago, and I had a real problem. At the time, you had to pay by MoonPay. I'd never heard of MoonPay before, so it wouldn't accept. I tried with a Wise card and a Bank of Queensland Visa debit card. Both of them wouldn't allow it to go through. They told me it was a scam. Then the Bank of Queensland closed down my account, and it took me 4 days to get it open again. So I thought, and it actually frightened me because I thought I wouldn't touch it anymore. So the account's still sitting there. I've never used it. I've been too worried to go in and purchase any XLM or anything like that. So, and they're saying now to get this A6RV app that will be on your phone to scan your currencies, that you need to have a Lobster account as well. And then they're offering all these things also on there.
Okay. Tribal Power, would you be able to send me that link so I can suss it out a bit more? I mean, I've heard people talking about it, but if anyone is out there, can you please send that link to me? And I have a very, very strong VPN, so I'm going to look into that further. The reason I say that, sweetheart, is because we did speak about having a Lobster wallet possibly was part of the actual quantum account. So I think what's been happening is, and I'm not blowing my own horn here, but a lot of people listen to me and then they go off and scam people. Okay. So listen to this very carefully. Based upon the information that you have just given me, back in the day, Bank of Queensland were not part of the quantum system back at that time. The Wise card was very similar at that time. If you were to go into my digital asset channel, you will type in MoonPay and it will give you the latest updates on MoonPay. It is safe and it is secure. And again, we still have these education programs that we are working on in the background to help assist people like yourself who did have those scare things that did occur. And they were real. They were real at the time. And if you're not tech savvy or up to speed with those kind of things, it's very important that we start to find people who can help us educate ourselves to feel confident in those sectors. There was a lot of banks, tribal power, that didn't allow you to purchase crypto. That has now changed, and there is other ways of getting around that as well. If you wanted to look into that further, that is something that we will look further into. But if you could send me that link, that way I can minimise the risk for a lot of people who would have seen that same post. We need to eliminate the risk. On the flip side of that tribal power, one of the things that I did do with my beautiful Wisconsin group is we spent quite a few hours going through and looking at when we talk about DJT and the military and the white hats have it all, you could actually find how to actually where your money disappeared to into wallets in Lobster. Okay, so we also had a lot of people who were scammed out of XRP, XLM and things like that as well through this Lobster wallet. Now, some of it was through lack of knowledge, some of it was through lack of confidence and doing what they were doing. They were actually selecting incorrect tokens, which probably shouldn't have been there anyway, but that's another story. But there's a whole heap of elements to that. And I always say to people, don't go shooting the gun at, Whiplash all the time and this, that, and all the rest of it, or shooting it at Lobster itself. It is going to play a part. We've just seen Kraken, another very important wallet. I prefer Kraken myself personally. I find it's very, very easy to navigate, and I've never, ever had a problem with Kraken. I've had problems with Binance and Lobster and all other CoinSpot and all of those as well. That reminds me, there was someone that did speak to me about CoinSpot. I must get back to you this week as well. But there is a lot of things, tribal powers. So please send me that link. But again, certainly wouldn't be doing anything until it is completely verified when this has actually happened. So, but yeah.
And on your digital, on your digital asset channel, I mean, I really try hard to take all this in and absorb it. And I've looked at so many things. Yesterday I spent a couple of hours and I thought, oh, this just seems too complicated to me. I need all about this for idiots. That book for idiots.
Yes. Well, again, now that I'm sort of settling down and all that sort of stuff, I have said 1,000 times I need to get in there and do a Q&A in the digital asset channel as well. So we will definitely go in and we'll definitely do that for you and many others, I'm sure, that are sitting in that digital asset channel, and we'll do a dummy run, so to speak. So, but yeah.
That's
okay.
The link. Have you got the link for the digital asset channel? Or
I will actually post that after the show, darling. Yeah.
Great.
So yes, we'll do that. So yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank
Well,
you so
it's
much.
lovely to chat to you. No, my pleasure, honey. It is always a pleasure to chat. SA, you are next, and then we go to CA, and I see Marlon Saleh is also ready to speak as well. So SA, how are you?
Very good, although it is very early in the UK, so I'm having my coffee.
Oh, I know. Well, you know what? I'm so grateful you're here, honey. And as I said in the Sizzling Sunday, I will be doing these Q&As a little bit earlier here in Australia to accommodate much more countries can come in and say hello during a Q&A. So I do apologise for that, darling. I've been out
it's fine. I was up anyway. I'm trading gold at the moment.
Thank you, darling. That's beautiful. So, but anyway, what's your question, honey?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say from just the previous conversation, there's loads of scams going on all over Facebook, everywhere. So really be careful, guys. And then how do I contact you, Mel? Because I've heard of a new exchange where the government can't get into it. But I would like to talk to you about it without telling everyone else, just to make sure it's legit.
Yeah, for sure. You can message me at Mel Mica, MELMICA.
Okay, that's brilliant. Because it sounds really exciting, but I just want to check it out.
That's okay. We can do that. And if it's really, really good, I will probably repost it. So if you see it reposted, you know I've done it. If I don't get back to you, honey, and I've reposted it in the channel, you mean that I've done a deep dive on it and I officially, affirmatively make it, like a spot on one. So send it to me. Perfectly fine.
I think it's going to be officially announced on the 20th of March. And then we've got a chance of all of us to be affiliates. Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? We've got South Africa coming online with some online banking on the 19th, and you're telling me this one is on the 20th? Oh, boy, I think we're pretty close, ladies and gentlemen. Just saying. But, yeah, that's really cool. Thank you, honey. I will definitely look into that for sure.
But my whole question is, even though I'm 100%, I know it's going to happen, I just get a little bit nervous when I research quite a lot about the government contracts in the UK, and they're spending millions on Capgemini, IBM, automation platforms, and Amazon Cloud and everything else. And I'm just thinking, will all this be just stopped? Will all this cease? Because all I can see is that we're heading for a corrupt digital ID.
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole digital ID thing. It's like the banking system. There seems to be two parallels, and I'm still sitting on the fence, to be quite honest. Just when I think I've got it sorted out as well, and I always put up my hand. That's why I don't charge for my services, because none of us are going to get this right. But I'm with you, honey. The more research you do, sometimes it plays on your mind and you second guess yourself as to which one is the real one and which one is the old corrupt one. And I totally get that. And again, as I said, it is probably something that I will look at. If it comes back on the radar again, I'll certainly look into it, because I think you're right. If you're doing your research and you're seeing that as well, like I said, there seems to be two parallels running and in the digital ID side of things. But I do know that a lot of the ones that are already in place for, say, for instance, your social security, your banking systems, there's a lot of other ones out there that haven't sort of committed themselves. I think they're all talk. The ones that have already been established, I think they are reasonably safe to say. But yeah, there is still a lot of fear factor and chatter out there regarding that. So I think they're still trying to push that narrative to wake a few more people up. So, but again, go with your instincts and but
there's a lot of millions going to certain companies that I found. It's not, I'm not looking at YouTube or anything else. I'm actually going on the government website and seeing the contracts. Yeah. Okay,
well,
thank you, Mel.
That's okay, darling. But thank you for being a great researcher. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, Marlon Saley, you better come up before the Canadian boys do, because we'll probably get stuck for about 10 minutes.
The Canadian boys.
Marlon,
here we go. Here we go. Can you hear me okay?
I can certainly hear you okay, sir.
That's
welcome.
good. Mel, I appreciate to meet you. I've been following you for a while. My name is Marlon Saleh, and I've been affiliated with a podcast called The True Seekers 88. for about 5 years, and I thought I would come on here this afternoon and speak with you a little bit about, I heard you talking about Zim a while ago. I wanted to know what your thoughts was on agro checks, in particular, and maybe have a little conversation about that.
Yeah, well, yeah. What would you like to know? You have to ask a question. There's a lot of things.
You're right.
Be a direct question here, otherwise I can't answer it.
So, what do you think about the agro checks compares to regular Zim? For example.
Agro checks. My understanding is they're still going to pay them out as a currency. That still hasn't been officially confirmed. But it's not classed as a bond. So the Zimbabwe, of course, there's Zimbabwe currency, which is already backed by gold. As you know, it's called the ZIG. And then we have the Zim notes, which is their actual currency that they utilised in every day. And then, of course, there is your Zim bonds, which were the bearers of this bond. That's a different pool of money as well. And that's very interesting how that may possibly be paid out, so to speak.
So to take the conversation a little bit further, Mel, what's your take on, say, for example, railway bonds? I have bought some of those, in the past. You open them up, and they look like a newspaper, so to speak. But I guess my question on them is, what if you have, for example, 10 or so of those? You just normally would carry those into the redemption center and let them know, during your appointment setting that you have those that you want to, bring with you, or what's your thought on that?
Well, you would certainly take everything with you. That's for certain. Then they would need to be, of course, validated, verified, authenticated, and all of that sort of thing. So if they haven't already been done for that process, then that would have to be a process that they go through with you. Now, my thought process, even with railway bonds, is that would they replace it with a new US Treasury bond, perhaps?
Yep.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
You're right there. That's a good one. Yeah.
It is nothing that nobody else is talking about, but I'm sure the friggin' gurus will run with that one, say it's their own, but that's okay. You heard it here first, Marlon. But yes, that is my opinion based upon some massive research, as I said, that I did. And as I said, we'll let that unfold. But it certainly makes sense, because if you're going to, a bond is one of those ones that was going to be trunched, and we often didn't know what the actual acronym was going to be on how they trunched this. Well, it was right there in front of us, wasn't it? It makes more sense if they actually convert that into, what happened on the 28th of February, Marlon?
Oh.
US Treasury bonds turned into US Treasury notes. Possibly, who knows? But it does make logical sense. If you're going to be trunching and things like that as well, then you certainly could convert them over to a US Treasury note bond and yield it over 10 years or 25 years. So there you go, Marlon.
Well,
take that to the bank and see what the rest of them have to say about that. Because they always say Mel knows nothing. But anyway, that's okay.
I'd like to invite you on the show sometime.
Absolutely, I'm happy to.
We've got a lot of people, a big audience, so to speak, and I'd like to have you on sometime. Yeah.
Not a problem at all. Be happy to. So,
and how do I reach you, Mel?
Mel Micah, MELMICA, And you can private message me there and send me a link, and we can do a video call to make sure that it's me, so that you're not getting scammed.
Sure.
And then you can make sure that it is me and not a bot and all the rest of the caper. So, and then we can set it all up from there. Okay.
Sounds good. I appreciate visiting with you. Nice to meet you, Mel.
No worries. All righty. Well, we're going to listen to the beautiful CA and MA, and of course the beautiful New Earth. Spent some quality time with them. You're going to be able to speak very shortly, honey. So, CA, MA, how are you?
Hi, Mel. Thank you for taking our call. Today, I'm on my own. Marvin is actually driving back from church with my mom. It's late.
Hey, we got.
But they were attending church and
22 minutes, you guys.
what's it called? An outing in Vancouver. I've been sick for 4 days, hence my voice is pretty much raspy and old. Whatever. It is what it is. I was going to tell you a little bit about, so I went to, had 2 meetings with banks in Vancouver. And here's what's going on. So approach RB, I got to tell you the story. So approach the first one.
Listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Listen very carefully. These boys are working extremely hard. Go for it, darling.
Took the initiative that you and Will Barney said you have to go do your homework and figure out which bank is actually acting out, not just as a bank, but also as a redemption center. I tried RBC, which for most people outside is Royal Bank of Canada. They are supposed to be the largest bank in Canada. And after basically talking to the top person at their wealth management center, that woman had no idea what I was talking. My first question to her was, are you aware of the GCR, the Global Currency Reset? She said, no. I said, great. Is there anybody above you that I can talk to in regards to that? Her answer was, I am at the top and I really have no idea what you're talking about. So after I gave her a little bit of information, she goes, I really don't understand what you're saying. I don't believe our bank is participating in this, but I do believe that I cannot take you or send you anywhere else because I am the highest person up here. So I said, thank you so much. And I left the bank. I proceeded to go to BMO, which is Bank of Montreal, and they are the second largest bank in Canada. I think TD is somewhere also there, but I chose not to go there because TD has had some bad dealings, and I think the U.S. government has suppressed their because of their money laundering schemes and their terrorist providing support and financial support to terrorist activities and dealing with drug cartels. The U.S. government under the USMCA basically has frozen their assets to not allow them to grow as they were before. So they are right now being pressed down by the Treasury and they cannot move forward. So under that actual specific reason, I chose not to go to TD because now I know that they are not going to be involved with the redemption of the currencies. So I decided to go to number 3. I went to Bank of Nova Scotia, so Scotia Bank. And Scotia Bank was really interesting. So I went to meet with someone, of course, again, at their wealth management center downtown Vancouver. And after speaking for a bit with someone, that person was the most hospitable and most willing to listen. And so he said, it was on a Friday. I said, okay, well, can you, is there a way that we can take a meeting some other time and figure out if you know anyone? He goes, leave it with me for a few days. And as soon as I find out someone, because there's many different types of financial wealth management within TD and every other organization. Now, the other 2 people that I went to for the other banks, I realized that the people that I've actually reached are the people that are way at the top that know everything that's going on inside their banks. And they had no idea. So RB or Scotia, I thought was going to be the same thing. However, sure enough, I was not mistaken, but I was surprised, which was great. And so what ended up happening was literally less than 20 minutes later, the guy who I met at the Wealth Management Center called me and said, hey, I might have found someone that understands what you're asking, which was, are they aware of the GCR, the Global Currency Reset? And they said yes. And are they aware of the QFS? And they said yes. So that was a bonus. So the guy proceeded from Scotia to give me a call and say, hey, let's have a chit chat if you have some time. I said, I'm driving for sure. Let's do that. So I have a 2.5, almost 3 hour drive to get home. And through the drive, I managed to basically have a quick little chit chat with the guy and say, okay, what's going on? Are you aware of this? Are you aware of the GCR? Are you aware of the quantum financial system? Is your bank basically involved in the redemption of currencies? He says, yes, yes, yes. I said, perfect. Let's book an appointment that you and I can chat next week. And so Marin, my brother, came down with me, and then we ended up meeting with him. I think it was on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. So it was this past Wednesday. So here's the gist of the conversation. The gentleman is really nice. He was 36 years old, a little bit of a pup, but he did quite a bit of work, which is really nice. It was great. I actually taped the whole conversation, which was fantastic. The one thing that I noticed also was he is somewhat of a yes person, but also he is willing to do some research. Now, the first question the first thing that I told him, Martin and I said, we are not in a rush to do this because we want to guarantee that you are dealing not as a bank, but as a redemption center. He said, I get it. And so we proceeded. And then he went back and he said, well, listen, how much would you want to be investing? So we said, let's not give him too much. But Marin said about 50 million. He said, okay, well, that's doable. But he's got to contact his brokers in Toronto to see what are the rates that he can get. Now, we repeated to him again, we're not going to do anything at this point until the switch actually happens, because we were not interested in having our currency basically turned into fiat currency. And he understood that, which was great. At some point, he is going to email me to tell me exactly what happened. Now, the one thing I can give people as a not as a warning, but as a cautionary tale. And this is basically coming from, I've been doing a ton of research and a lot of things to see exactly where things are. The one thing that everybody has to understand is, as Will Barney said, and as Mel said, at some point, we're all going to go. I mean, the entire world's going to go together. Now, the one thing is, there are tons of scams. And if we don't, and I asked the other question that I asked the gentleman who was the wealth manager, I said, are you a fiduciary wealth manager or are you working for the bank? He said, yes, I am a fiduciary. And a fiduciary is a person who has who is basically in charge of dealing with you directly. And it does not represent the bank, but works for you. That's one thing. So even if you find somebody who is a wealth manager, the one question that you have to make sure is, ask them that they are a fiduciary, which means that they work for you. You work on an actual percentage basis from the money you're going to redeem. Number two, make sure that you do not get pressured in saying that they're going to give you, even if they give you a high rate. Remember, you do not want to transfer into fiat. The banks are falling. And today, or I think it was that last night, BlackRock just basically froze everyone's assets and said no to giving back people their money. So that is a bit of a warning to tell you that even the largest financial institution in the world is basically going belly up. So I'm just, as a person who's a God-loving person, but also cares about humanity also, please be careful. There's so many scams out there. So do not fall for the trap, even if they go up and they tell you it's $10 or $15 or whatever the case may be. Just remember, if you exchange your currency into fiat, you are going to be losing money, because that currency is basically losing. Fiat currency all over the world is losing value. And you can see that with the way silver and gold are slowly and even faster climbing. So my cautionary tale to everyone is, please be careful. Take your time. Do not be in a rush. We're all going to go at some point. Make sure that you go when the flip happens. Then you'll be able to go with a clear conscience that your money is not going to end up in the bank, but also on your QFS account. Having said that, one more thing, Mel, if I may add one more thing, which is, even if they come back and they give you a really good rate, yeah, you can sit on it. Just wait. You don't have to rush. The key in life is we're so caught up nowadays that we want quick. We want a quick satisfaction. We want to be able to get everything done so quickly, but easy come, easy goes. And the other thing is, you don't want the banks to basically take that money into their accounts, because yes, you are going. Though there's one aspect also, you do want to invest some money with those wealth managers, especially if they're fiduciaries, and they're working with the bank, but they're not working for the bank. So as a fiduciary, exactly, they're working for you. So give them a bit of an incentive, but don't rush and exchange right off the bat for the sake of exchanging and saying, oh my God, I won. But no, you would have basically put your money into fiat. So be patient, take time, and when you're in doubt, ask the Lord, pray to God, and He will give you the right guidance. So that's what I wanted to share with you, Mel, and say thank you so much for being a light in our beautiful tunnel. That is, I think we're so close to the end with everything that's going on, and I do believe that we are really close to the end. I mean, if BlackRock is actually falling apart and is basically taking, like, holding on to people's money. This is the largest conglomerate in the world, and they are not allowing for people to take their money back. That should speak volume. So be patient, be well, and just ask God for guidance. And this is just my opinion and my experience. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, and that's all I can give. So there you go.
Amen to that.
I spoke for 10 minutes.
I did say that you would talk for 10 minutes today. That's why I got Marlon to come up as well. So, but please understand, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I allow these beautiful boys to speak from Canada is that we actually speak quite regularly for quite extensive amounts of hours going through these processes. We have helped each other along this journey. And I give you much, much grace and gratitude for sharing that. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is getting very, very close. And thank you so much for sharing that. What I will share, though, before we go to New Earth, I've also unmuted DMO and PK. But I wanted to share a little bit about BlackRock and fiduciary as well. If you go to the channel, there's called for clients. There is an article in Australia, things like that as well. So please research that. And you're saying actually had this discussion before. Private wealth management not separately to the bank. We have discussed this previously, especially for those of us in Australia, when we talked about ANZ and things like that as well. They are endorsed by those banking corporations only as an endorsement. They don't actually work under the banking structure. They just utilise their ANZ as an affiliation to that private bank. So please understand that, ladies and gentlemen. That was a fantastic explanation on the fiduciary side of things. As I said, each country, you need to go and do that. We have talked about it before. So please go and check that out. As for BlackRock, let's get back to BlackRock. Very interesting that they have done that. But an interesting fun fact is that if you were to look into BlackRock, they used to own 41% shares in a lot of the banks and banking corporations. They now only own, I think it's about 6%. So what you're hearing now is what virtually happened quite some time ago. This is the elements of what they have to go through to show you all that how corrupt the system was. BlackRock in the other side of things, because they lost that control of 41% in those banking corporations, and it's now much less than that here in Australia, I'm talking about as well. Please understand, they had to relinquish that. That was part of that integration of the quantum system. So BlackRock technically has already lost their power. They are still showing their powers because they still run as a major investment conglomerate. Yes, that's exactly right. So what happens there is, on the flip side of this, my understanding is that BlackRock will actually change its name, and it will be a possibility, just a possibility that they will be one of those investment companies that you may like to consider once this flip has happened. So as Chatty just said, please take the time, relax, keep educating yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and keep going through that process, because that is very, very important to understand that the theatre with BlackRock right now is, yes, they have stopped their payments, but I think they're about to completely merge into the new system as well, because, as I said, a lot of their assets had to be transferred into gold and silver to support their 41% stake in a lot of the banks and that as well. So very interesting that you bring that up, but thank you so much for that. And congratulations to the boys over in Canada. They have been a huge support for myself and for this channel. So please appreciate how much information was just given there alone. So thank you, honey. Say hello to the other brother. Mwah. We'll see
God
you
bless
very
you all,
soon.
and God bless you, Mel. Take good care. Love you all.
You
Bye.
too, darling. See you,
Bye.
sweetheart. New Earth, you have been waiting in the wings, my darling, and the beautiful Julie, she can get unlocked as well. Here we go. Come on. PK, if you're still there, honey, you're welcome to come back up. So, New Earth, how are you, darling?
I'm okay. Ooh, you look like you're wearing a swimsuit.
Oh, no, I'm actually wearing a top. 222. Look, 222 participants as New Earth comes up. Yes, I went from rugging myself up to like stripping down, and but yeah,
gosh.
no, the humidity is like really.
I can tell.
So, but no, I'm not in my bathing suit, but
just the straps.
Yeah. But thank you, honey. You have been an absolutely amazing host as well. So thank you so much for all that you have done as well. So, but yeah. So what's been happening since I left? Yes. Oh, thank you, honey. It was an absolute true honor as well.
It's not over, guys.
But yeah.
Well,
We'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah. What about crypto.com? You know, they have that crypto online.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Blockchain online.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, we don't talk a lot about crypto.com, but I believe they're all right. I actually do use them occasionally myself, and never had any issues with them either. So that's one that we should actually, when we get over into the digital assets, we should get over there and talk a little bit more about that one, because they are actually part of the new system. They have sponsored many stadiums too, I believe. I believe they are sponsoring. Yes, that's true. So I believe they play a very big part. They also have, we've learnt, especially from you, about the Lobster wallet and vault and things like that as well. So they, as you said, they have this other locked blockchain as well, which acts as a vault. So they are also very safe and secure. These are not endorsements, ladies and gentlemen. As I always say, make sure that you find one that is suitable for you and you feel comfortable with. But thank you, sweetheart, for bringing that one to our attention, because we don't often talk about it. But it does have a separate, as I said, works like a vault on the other side as that.
Right.
As well.
I went on there and I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't know. You know, I explored it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So then I got back on crypto.com and I asked them, how safe are these things? Because every once in a while you hear all these exchanges are going to go down.
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of them will. Yeah, I think a lot of them still will. We're starting to focus on the ones that we are focusing on in that digital asset channel. I believe we're pretty much on par with the ones that are going to stick around. But we don't get a lot from crypto.com in the actual news cycles, so to speak. So I think it's one of those hidden little secrets, so to speak. So thank you so much for bringing that one up, because
ask Grok about it, because Grok will tell you. how safe it is and how much they
we had experiences with rope, didn't we? So,
yes, we did. Some very good ones.
many situations. So, yeah. But thank you so much for that one. That's that is a great reminder. So thank you, sweetheart. We'll definitely be catching up again very, very soon.
Yeah, okay.
So thanks. And thanks for the beautiful lunch before I left as well. That was amazing. So we didn't have a lot of time. We were
okay. About a minute left on that. That was Mel from the Q&A for Sunday show. I got a lot of 5-minute ones and 7-minute ones, so I'm not gonna do any more 20-minute ones. So I got a lot of good short ones. Next one is 3 minutes.
Of Gene Hackman's final days plunged 312 feet straight into darkness. On February 26, 2025, Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead inside their heavily fortified Santa Fe estate. The official cause? Natural causes, cardiovascular disease complicated by Alzheimer's. But nothing about what agents uncovered beneath that mansion felt natural. This wasn't just a celebrity home tucked outside Santa Fe. It was a fortress. 23 acres of dense forest, 12-foot stone walls, reinforced steel gates, motion sensors sweeping 500 feet in every direction, thermal cameras, NDAs so tight former contractors couldn't talk for decades. One builder, Miguel Reyes, said certain basement walls were 18 inches thick. That's bunker-level construction. You don't build storage like you're expecting a bomb. And then came the library. Behind mahogany paneling, agents found a narrow stone staircase spiraling down into cold, damp air that smelled like a tomb. The descent took 15 minutes. At the bottom, a 40 by 60-foot chamber, historians say, resembles late 1800s Spanish colonial architecture. 47 wooden crates lined the walls. Inside one, a 1947 leather-bound ledger written entirely in German, filled with names supposedly erased from history. Photographs surfaced. Men in unrecognizable military uniforms. Secret meetings. Faces carefully cut from prints. In one image, a group stood at what appeared to be the very entrance of that same tunnel. And then the symbols. More than 300 carvings etched into stone, none matching any known language. Some resembled alchemical signs. Others looked like technical schematics. A few aligned with astronomical charts that, according to one astrophysicist, correspond to stellar positions from 12,000 years ago, or 12,000 years in the future. At the far end of the chamber stood an 8-foot iron door, 4 inches thick, no handle, rusted shut. Thermal scans detected airflow behind it. It doesn't end there. It goes deeper. The FBI won't comment. Internal security footage from the mansion was mysteriously corrupted. External cameras show lights flicking on and off in the days before Hackman's death, after his wife had already passed. So here's the question no one can shake. Was this the quiet passing of a Hollywood legend? Or did Gene Hackman take secrets to his grave that were never meant to see daylight?
That was interesting. I got one more of the funny lady and then one more of the other TikTok lady. I can't remember. I don't know if I played this one.
Look him up. Fox News has discovered that this guy used to live in the United States. He now lives over in China. It seems that all of the protest guys, all of the protests are connected to this one man. He is a proud Marxist. He is anti-American, and he is behind all of these protests. Yes, there are people that join these protests, but the majority, 99.9% of the people are under this guy's rule. They're paid, and he's just doing it because he's so against America and he wants to cause problems. Look the name up. The second thing I want to tell you is I have just pulled off the side of the road so that I can pluck both of my eyeballs out. Now, I don't know how y'all are going to feel about me telling you what I'm about to tell you. I'm not making fun. I'm stating what just happened. So I'm out doing my second job, okay, delivering groceries. I'm way out in the country, way out in the country. I go pulling up to this house. I'm just stating the facts before you come at me, okay? I go pull up at this house. The door opens. This lady walks out wearing shorts. She's got 2 piss bags, one strapped to each leg, full of urine. Full of urine. One of the tubes is dangling and one of them is up. And just like, hey, how are you? Or are you here to deliver my groceries? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And of course, I'm acting all casual, like you're not standing there with 2 bags about to bust of urine strapped to your legs. And I'm just pretending I'm not noticing it. So she's hollering at her dog, who's running around barking, just doing his little job.
Okay, that works.
And the pee bags are just flopping back and forth. And I'm just like, what in the fuck? But this is life in Alabama. Like, you never know what the hell you're going to pull up to. You never know. And this person wasn't like, oh, excuse me, or let me cover this up, or I have a medical condition or nothing. I mean, she's just like, hey, like, let me go get my husband to help me get these groceries in, just flopping around with a piss bag strapped to her leg. Guys, look this name up. Neville Roy Singham.
Okay, we got 3 of hers in today. She had her day off. I got another one of hers. She had 2 this afternoon. I played.
To realize that we have been so controlled and so reliant on those corrupt people at the top that have been running the nations. It's absolutely insane. When you really think about it, paying taxes. All of our working years, we're paying taxes to the government. We are paying taxes to a government that prints money. I mean, when you're awake, you just look at everything so differently. We are paying taxes to a government that prints money. I mean, if that's not insane, I don't know what is. Anyways, it's just crazy being awake. You really start analyzing, decoding every little tiny thing on how corrupt and evil they were and what they did to us. Insane. Have a great day.
Okay, she's another good one.
It's crazy when you're awake.
Okay, I got some Nick Shirley clips, you guys, in New York City. I don't think we played these ones, did we?
Might as well go do a live stream and a quick follow-up on Canal Street.
Homeland Security vehicles and armed agents. A massive federal operation unfolds on Canal Street, questioning vendors and taking some into custody. Buyers and sellers all vanished.
You guys know that place is ran rampant by scammers, committing fraud. They sell counterfeit goods. They do not pay taxes on those goods. Therefore, they are defrauding people like me and you. We also have a special guest with us. We got Sweeney, he's back with us. And we're just gonna go do a quick little run through, see what Canal Street's like. I put on my Instagram story and my ex today that we're gonna be here, but you've been living here. I was living here, and then I had to move out of New York City after people want to start killing me for exposing the fraud. So this is our first public live stream in a while. Yep. What do you expect to see here today, Sweeney?
Well, for those of you who are sort of outsiders here from New York City, Canal Street is a corridor which used to always have a little bit of folks selling fake goods, but it is ballooned and ballooned and ballooned with the quote unquote migrant crisis here. So on Canal Street, you'll see they used to occupy maybe half a block. Now it's expanded to almost its entire zip code. And as Nick said before, these folks are in broad daylight selling counterfeit stolen goods, oftentimes in front of police officers. And when you go and ask these police officers, they're the most frustrated folks in the city because every time they arrest these guys, our city council's laws that are so lenient let them out the very next day on no cash bail. So some of these guys that come down here, they laugh at our NYPD because they're out the very next day every time they get arrested. And the recent Gallup poll for other evidences of illegality predicts that or paces these folks at between 60 and 80% illegal migrants. So it's double confounding this perplexity that occurs every day in broad daylight. It's not in some outer borough. It's in the heart of New York City.
And Sweeney is actually an attorney, so he knows his stuff. What's happening is wrong here on Canal Street, quite frankly. I remember coming here when I was 16 years old, buying stuff off Canal Street, but it wasn't never like this.
And a lot of folks who have that comment, right, they'll respond and say, well, Canal Street's always been like that. We're saying that there is an expansion under open border policy mayors that have turned this into an ever-ending balloon. I speak to shop owners all the time in the street that are almost about to move out their business because of this. And Zora Mamdani just predicted in his budget that he would spend over 1.2 tax dollars to fund the migrant crisis even more. So if you guys don't believe that someone's getting paid at the end of this, I got a bridge to sell you.
All right, let's go, everybody. Hello, hello. Today we are here.
Part one.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah.
I love your video.
Thank you very much.
Love what you're doing.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Everyone's upset over here. Sweeney, you want to get a bag? Look, never. How much? What if I wanted to buy one though? How much? All right. How much? Wait, if there's no wrongdoing here, why can't they tell me how much?
There's a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my
Gosh, I love you.
All right.
Have a good day.
That's a man of the people, y'all.
How you doing?
You busted this motherfucker up.
Yes, sir. What do you think about what happens here on Canal Street? It looks like you work here at the shop.
Yeah, but I have to tell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we appreciate you.
Man,
See, people who work honest business
man,
don't
you
like this
fucking-
happening.
You bust that fucking Somalian.
Yes, sir. We gotta crack down on all fraud, all scamming. It's all bad.
It's all fucked up, man.
Thank you.
Against the narrative, right? Nick Shirley's always like, there's all these people casting these aspersions on Nick Shirley. You come down here, it's people of every race, every gender, every age that are giving him daps, right? It's not a political thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a demographics thing. He gets love from the people who are law-abiding on this corridor more than anyone else.
Because no one likes to get freaking scammed or defrauded. Think about it. All those people, those people that just came with me, they're all working, paying into the system. These guys that are selling these counterfeit goods illegally don't pay in the system. They're making just straight up cash. They don't have to pay taxes on anything.
Some of these folks are making $5,000 a day.
A lot of these people were living off our taxes while they were inside the shelter system here as illegal migrants. Oh my gosh. So this block right here, I think we found it. Here, this is the big one. Right there, it looks like we got a lot. Oh shoot, look, we got NYPD right here. Good afternoon, everybody.
You guys selling anything?
How much? How much? How much? Wait. How much? Is everything today free, or how much could buy it for? How much?
They're not hurting anybody.
Yes, they are.
Who are they hurting?
Taxpayers. Easy
Bye.
response.
Bye.
Listen,
I'm a taxpayer. They're not.
Wait, can we ask you when's the last
Y'all
time you
have a
avoid
good
paying your taxes on your salary?
You have a good one, man.
Look, we just cleared the block.
Then
They're all
save
left.
taxpayer dollars. I don't think there's a better way to spend my time.
Go to Capitol Hill and talk to Donald Trump and all of them that's avoid paying taxes.
Yes, we did go to Capitol Hill and they brought ice down here, and this place looked like Pleasantville in 48 hours.
There was an NYPD officer right there. How he left, and look, all the scammers just come right back out. Look at this. All right, stream's back. It went down for a sec. Now we're back. Can we buy anything? How much? What's up? Oh, I remember you. You remember me? I remember you. Is business booming? How's it going? How much? No, any price? Look, it keeps going. How much? How much? Oh, they're packing up. How much? How are you guys doing? Thank you. I appreciate it.
And one more part 3. I got another set.
Fine.
Yeah, go for it.
You guys know that they're selling this is illegal? You guys know that, right?
Look.
I got a question for y'all. Where you follow them? See where they're going. I want to know if she knows that.
Go. Come.
How much? No, Sweeney's keep going. Sweeney's going.
Well, this is the thing. It's like if you're buying this, you're providing them a market and they're not going to go away. You are just as complicit. These two girls are just as complicit as the folks selling it. Sorry, we live in a capitalist society. If there is a market, what are you doing with this? If there's a market, you're going to have sellers and you're going to have buyers. Turn off the market. Turn off the faucet on this stuff. It's absurd. People buying from these corridors right here are all tourists and transplants. Everyone down here who's a stakeholder in this community, the taxpayer in New York, can't stand this shit.
Look, they make lots of money. Look at all that cash. It's all cash.
Non-stop love for you. You see that?
Yes, sir. Look at the taxes. Where are you guys from? What country? You don't know what country you're from?
Why are you filming?
Oh, we're doing a live stream just showing people what's happening here on Canal Street with all the counterfeit goods and everything like that. What do you think about it?
I think that everyone deserves a livelihood.
Even a legal livelihood?
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Why do you believe so?
I think, do we think that the laws of this country are like 100% correct? I don't think that.
Sure, which laws do you disagree with? And I'm just only asking you in good faith out of just total respect.
Honestly, I don't feel articulate enough right now to
do you think
describe,
that
but I
prohibit
think,
illegal activity are probably fair that we want as a
well,
society?
I think illegal activity
Why do you
is
put illegal activity in quotations? Illegal activity is illegal activity. You don't need to put quotations
right,
around
but
it. It's either
illegal
legal or it's
activity
not.
is defined by what's legal and what's not.
Sure,
And I'm
decided
saying
by a democratic majority, which you take participation in. It's not decided by
Sure.
one guy or
this
one
all
tyrant.
feels
It's decided by
very
democracy.
idealistic to me.
What do you
It's just
explain
pragmatic.
what the word idealistic means from your point of view?
In my point of view,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just going.
What's your name, brother?
I don't feel
Where are you from?
articulate enough to get into it right now, but I just saw that you were recording all these guys, so I wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good rest of your day. How are you doing, sir?
From Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso. What do you think about all this? How much money are you guys making out here?
Nothing, actually.
Nothing.
People struggling. People
What?
from Africa.
Yeah. Do you sell out here?
Yes, I'm the boss.
You're the
No,
boss.
I don't sell. I got different job.
Oh, see, they're trying to pull you away from talking with us. We're just trying to.
Don't worry. I'm the boss. Don't worry. Fuck them
Okay.
off.
Why don't any of them want to talk to us? Just out of
Yeah,
curiosity.
because
We
I
think
don't
we know
know.
the answer.
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Well, I'm saying, what is your opinion? Why don't you think folks out here want to talk to us? And why don't you think the people purchasing these things want to talk to us either?
Okay, because they feel like they're gonna be attacked. They don't know.
Understood.
They don't
We're
know.
not.
They're not smart.
How you doing?
What's up, guy? What's up?
I'm back again.
What's up, brother?
Hold on a second.
How you doing?
I gotta talk to Nick.
We're live right now.
Yes, you can be live. I understand.
Okay,
that.
we're talking with him really quick, so I got to talk with him.
No, can you let?
Well, I want to talk with him.
Okay, I got the next 4 clips.
College students right now that feel the need to be shouting "Free Palestine."
Why is it that Palestine can't have any Jewish settlers? Israel has a 22% Arab minority. Could you imagine if we tried to kick those people out?
I'm here with Jan. He's someone that is pro-Israel, and we were going to do a discussion with somebody from that's a pro-Palestinian. However, they fell through, and now I'm with Jan. And Jan, we as Americans and people like me, I think there's tons of people that really don't understand the exact conflict that is happening right now in Israel with Palestine, and we just see the protests that are going on here. No one really knows what you are protesting for and what is actually going on. So what is going on from your perspective?
So from my perspective, I mean, there's obviously what's going on and then what people think it's going on. What's going on is you have two groups of people who are in a conflict over one piece of land. What makes this conflict unique is that there's almost no other place on earth where you get two extraordinarily ethnically, culturally, and developmentally different people that are literally on a border with one another. Like, for instance, take any conflict you want, India and Pakistan. Those are people that are fairly ethnically close to each other, obviously divergent for many generations. One is Muslim, one is Hindu, or majority so, and that's their conflict. But could you imagine if Sweden, sort of liberal, progressive, ultra-white, ultra sort of small Sweden shared a border with Afghanistan, literally Afghanistan? it would be unthinkable. Could you imagine that kind of conflict? Those are two incredibly different people fighting over one territory of land. There's nowhere else I can think of that's even close to that. So that's why this conflict just continues to boil, because it's Jews and Arabs sharing a territory and arguably fighting over the same territory. Well, not arguably, they are fighting over the same territory. So
what about
why should
8:30
we as
tonight,
Americans care about
guys?
what's going on there if it's so far away and there's protests and college students are taking over colleges in the name of Palestine, and we're all the way over here.
So there's two different issues, right? I mean, you can also ask, why are they doing that? And we'll talk about that in a second. Why we care is because Israel. So from my perspective,
part 2 now.
this kind of place. And if you look even around Europe, I think I've talked about this before, Europe is welcoming more and more migrants that are causing tremendous problems. They have no pride in their own culture, and they are becoming very progressive, both economically and socially and militarily, to where they are no longer going to be Western allies in a generation at most. So Israel is the only remaining Western power. They give a tremendous amount of intel to America. Like I also mentioned before, Israel has to fight a constantly defensive war because they're, in essence, they're told by the West. You know, your mother asked me before, well, why does America exert such influence? Well, they believe they have a right to because they send money, but in turn, they want this constant sort of standoff of never actually finishing the conflict by, in essence, either occupying that territory permanently and preventing any kind of Islamist government, or from relocating those people and saying this territory is ours, period. You know, the other problem, and I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent, is that they keep saying we want a Palestinian state. What they never say is what that state is going to be and where. They've made it very clear. They want all of it. At a bare minimum, they want Jerusalem, which is obviously the only holy city in the Jewish tradition and the Jewish faith. They want that, and they don't even want half. They want all of it. So this talk of a Palestinian state, well, where? Where? It's like me saying I want a Yan state right here in the middle of New York. Give me a Yan state. Okay, but where? Like, what will be its borders? Will I have to share those borders? That's not a country. There's no country in the world that's shared amongst multiple people that I can think of. As of, you know, according to the Balfour Decree and according to the division of 1948, which the Arabs rejected, Jerusalem was going to be a city shared by multiple polities. I'm not sure that happens anywhere else, and we're continuing to expect to live in that reality. So I don't know if I really answered your question, but we should care because it's the last bastion of the West, because there are a lot of joint or dual citizens with Israel and America, and because Israel is a hotbed of technological and medicinal advancement that, you know, is really one of our only, if not only, ideological ally at this point.
So would you say Israel is kind of like the America of the Middle East, where they kind of uphold to our same standards, and that's why we can or we should be able to trust them? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, they're the only country over in that side of the country, in that side of the world, that we can actually trust.
I mean, that's an interesting way of putting it. Obviously, Israel and America are different in that America is, you know, expressly unethnical. It has no one ethnicity. Obviously, it used to be more white majority. Now it's more mixed. But there's no one ethnicity or one group that's dominant or whose state it is. Israel's obviously a state that's predominantly Jewish. It's supposed to be the Jewish state. Now, unlike every other state in that region, they have a large minority group. And people don't know this. I think a lot of people don't know this. The Arabs have parties in Israel. They vote. They form a substantial bloc. They're 22% of the population. They have multiple seats in the Knesset, which is their parliament, many of which expressly either want to dissolve Israel or want to curtail Israel's power or want to create a Palestinian state that competes with Israel. People don't know that. Could you imagine a Jewish party in Iran? I'm not even sure the Iranian people have a party in Iran. And you want a minority group to have it? It's unthinkable. But I don't know if I call it America. It's certainly America's ally, and it shares the same kind of pluralistic, Western, democratic, capitalistic, individualistic values that America upholds, or at least used to.
And I would like to say I'm probably not the best person to be talking about this subject because I just don't know.
Okay, I got 2 more parts.
some of the research that I have done, Palestine, the Palestinian people once did rule the land that Israel now holds. And now is that why they're trying to? Is that why they're like fighting? Like that's our land, and I'll give it back because at one point Israel did take it over.
So that's incorrect, but that kind of highlights the amorphousness of the Palestinian identity. When convenient, they call themselves a unique people that have a unique tradition. Despite having no history they can point to, no famous leaders before 1948, no culture, no individual language, even their flag is just yet another Arab flag with that green, black, red, and white tricolor, or the triangle with the tricolor. When convenient, they are Arabs, they're Arab brothers, the Arabs are their brothers. That is incorrect. There's never been a Palestinian state. Before 1917, the Turks had dominated that part of the world. They were also Muslim, but the Arabs did not have their own state. They lived under Turkish control, and I think in Egypt, the British controlled it at one point. Then the British freed it from the Ottomans because the Ottoman Turks were allies of Germany in World War I. At this point, the Arab states were formed basically different lines. The original, what they call Palestinian Protectorate, included everything we think of now as Israel plus the territories and Jordan. Jordan was created and cut off from that piece, representing more than half of all the land, was given to the Hashemite kingdom, an Arab power, which is really the Palestinian state. That is the state. They never held it at any point. They were always under British control there, but they had more political power than Jews. The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who was the head of the Muslim polity and spoke, for those people, was an ally of Hitler. In fact, he met with Hitler at one point and sternly recommended to Hitler that he kill the Jews rather than welcome them into the protectorate, the Palestinian protectorate. And I'm not going to say that's where Hitler got the idea, but it certainly didn't help. Because before that point, the Nazis were merely trying to deport the Jews. They weren't actually stuffing them in camps yet. So, no, there has never been an Arab power that held that land, because in 1947 and 48, the British offered the division. And they said, we'll leave completely. Part of it will be Jewish, part of it will be Arab, and you will share Jerusalem. The Arabs said no. They evicted the Jews from every single Arab country and then invaded, or around the same time, invaded Israel, hoping to destroy it. They lost that war. They then, at that point, Israel did not yet start the expansion they're now accused of. It was after they won the 1967 war, where at that point, they started cutting off more pieces. They took the Golan Heights, they took the Sinai, which they returned to Egypt. There's no other power I can think of where you're continually invaded by your neighbors, you win, and you're expected to allow them to redo it over and over again. And if anything, you're rewarding them. This talk now of a Palestinian state, you are literally rewarding the Palestinian Arabs for October 7th. You're giving them a state on Jewish land because that will somehow make peace. How will giving them autonomy of the territory they're fighting for create peace when they haven't been peaceful up until that point? Oh, will it be peaceful the same way that Syria has been peaceful, or Iraq, or Afghanistan, or Egypt, or every other Muslim or Arab country that has constant intra-Muslim warfare? Yes, but this magical place will be peaceful. Will the unicorns enforce the peace, or will it be the magical fairy dragons that do it?
And now you just mentioned October 7th, and that is a day that will go down in history with this conflict that is happening. Now you know.
Okay, one more. Oh. Ah. I can't get part 4. Part 4.
So as I understand it, there were a lot of, at the music festival, there are different parts. Remember, they invaded both the music festival and also kibbutz, which are like quasi-communist Jewish settlements on the borders. They saw weakness. I am fairly confident.
This was by Hamas.
So this is, well, remember, Hamas is the government of the Gazan Palestinian people. There were a lot of civilians there. And again, you have to remember, Hamas and Gaza, these are where the soldiers end and the civilians begin is not distinct like it is here.
So Hamas is the government of the Palestinian people.
Yes, Hamas is a uber-religious ISIS-like gang that runs Gaza. They get all the money. They are celebrities there, in essence. They run the government. But again, they are beloved by the people. The people hide them. You've heard the stories. They emerge from tunnels and hospitals. People give them food. Like, they're both feared and loved. It's like gangsters running, 1920s New York.
Yeah.
They are both beloved and feared.
But are they in power, like in the power seats of like, we are the leaders of this country? Like, would they be like at the White House saying this is our land, or are they more like a cartel where they have their operations in separate places, but they are in control secretly of the country?
It's very open, but they are a terrorist organization. See, that's the great thing. An actual terrorist organization is also the government. So could they come to the White House? Well, no, they'd probably be arrested. Though at this point, I don't even know. But no, they can't come anywhere because they are a terrorist organization. They just also happen to be in charge. Think of the Taliban right now in Afghanistan, or when ISIS ran parts of Syria and Iraq, right? Were they the government? Well, it depends who respected them as such, but arguably they're more elected than those people were. They were elected by the Palestinian people. As far as October 7th, many of the people who were there were straight up not even Hamasniks. They were just Palestinians who just loved the torture and the rape and the kidnapping. They were way into it. So they were there with them, and this is their people, this is their government. Now at the music festival, those were just like kids who were completely unprotected. In other places, they attacked, soldier encampments, they attacked civilians with many kids. You've heard a lot of children were murdered and kidnapped. Those children weren't obviously at the music festival.
Yeah.
Even in Israel, I don't think that the 5-year-olds are going to a rave. That was more 18 to 20-year-olds that were at that rave.
And then the people were taken hostage, and you hear a lot of like free the hostages. Do you think the hostages are still even alive at this point?
Very few of them are alive, and the ones that are so horrendously tormented. They are being used. It's interesting. I think it was Golda Meir said that there will be peace when the Arabs love their children more than they hate us. And that's what's really tragic about this whole experience is you hear these stories of Arabs celebrating their son being a martyr. What's his name? Ismail Haniyeh, the actual head of Hamas, who's a billionaire who lives, I believe, in Qatar. I think he recently moved to Turkey. When he was told 2 of his sons were killed, there was no expression. They meant nothing to him. They were more political chips. Their deaths are probably more valuable to him than their lives. We as Jews, we value every life. We don't produce 9 of them per family and then set them loose as warriors. We don't do that. We pay our dues. And so as a result, we care tremendously about each and every life that is Israel.
What?
Okay, we got quite a bit of Nick videos tonight. Our California lady.
For the arrest of Barack Obama, accusing him of leading a criminal organization responsible for operating a spy network inside government institutions that helped America's enemies by passing intelligence to the Chinese Communist Party. I'm Fernanda Perez-Riley, and you need to know this, my dear. Obama set up a parallel state to monitor and co-opt politicians, federal agents, and even judges. Attorney General Pam Bondi is preparing a massive operation involving all of our security agencies to investigate Obama's criminal network. Senator Kennedy has demanded that the DOJ arrest Obama for treason and espionage. According to these claims, the same network within this so-called parallel state passed classified information to China through 2 Democratic senators who have already been removed from the Permanent Intelligence Committee and could now face life in prison if they're lucky, because knowing Bondi, she might even push for the death penalty. Although Obama is no longer in the spotlight, he is still said to be operating behind the scenes, controlling what critics call his parallel state, which now appears to have its days numbered. With this massive operation involving multiple federal agencies, the network could collapse and Obama could end up behind bars. Senator John Kennedy has just...
Okay, 2 more.
penny from Nancy Pelosi for being linked to the laundering of federal funds embezzled by Gavin Newsom's administration. This has caused panic among Democrats because many heavyweights in the party are involved up to their necks in illicit funding used to push Congress to approve the allocation of federal funds, not only to my state, but also to others that were later embezzled. As in the case of New York, where the governor and the mayor are being investigated for using disaster relief funds to cover their corruption schemes. The situation is even more complex, and it doesn't just involve Nancy. who used her influence in Congress to put billions of dollars in the hands of a crook responsible for a $400 billion fraud. And of course, she was very well paid to help Newsom steal, because the scheme relied on using taxpayer money to finance projects that were never built, while the billions simply disappeared. They used front men to move millions in smaller amounts through different banks until the money eventually reached Nancy Pelosi's foundation, supposedly as transfers for her charity project. But this so-called charity earned her a luxury apartment in New York in one of the most exclusive areas, which was confiscated by the Treasury Department for being part of a bribery payment. I'm Fernanda Perez Riley, and these Democratic mobsters are very close to spending the rest of their lives behind bars. Those who thought they were untouchable may soon be watching the sun rise from behind bars, gentlemen. President.
Okay, we got two of the. Lucy, I got another one from our lady there, TikTok, just came out.
Have you seen the picture of the two men that threw their homemade explosive device towards Gracie Mansion? Have you seen them? They're not fucking white, okay? So instead of focusing on the fact that we've got two ISIS supporters who's making these homemade explosive devices that can really take out a whole bunch of people in the most horrific way you can imagine, what does Mondami focus on? White supremacy. These protests with these white supremacists. What fucking white supremacists, Mondami? The two men that threw that are Islamic supporters, are ISIS supporters. You know what the left and radical Islamic people have in common, and Iran? They all want America to fail. Iran chants death to America, and the left gets out in the streets and chants for Iran. So we've got two major shitty things going on right now. We've got a country that's trying to activate their cells to come alive and take us out. And we got the left over here wanting to take us out. We got them working from inside. And we got a mayor in New York that after he is the target of this, instead of talking about it like it should be talked about, he starts bringing up white supremacy again. Keep feeding those fires. Keep feeding them. We're going to have some more things like the Boston Marathon. We're going to have all kind of crazy shit be happening. And I hate to say it. Y'all can call me a Debbie Downer, whatever you want to do. But we got two things working against us, guys. We got crazy motherfuckers here that are on the left that want to see America destroyed. We got radical Islamists that want to see America destroyed. We got them coming from left to right. Keep aware of your surroundings. Those nail bombs and things like that, dear God, Jesus, they can put them anywhere. Don't forget how they did at the Boston Marathon. Remember that? They used a fucking pressure cooker. Be careful, guys. Hey, guys, I wasn't planning on
I got
making
one more to share, I think. She had, I think, 4 or 5 out today. Like, yeah, I played her already, that one.
And I don't give a damn. I want to see you succeed and everyone else. But I just think, number one, it was a huge mistake because they may say to themselves, with Tucker at least, getting back to that specific thing, oh, no sweat, don't worry about it. Where's he going to go? Well, the answer is it doesn't matter. Wherever he goes, people are just going to go find him like they find you on Sirius, the internet, Rumble. It doesn't matter. The whole system's been broken apart. And I really think, just to wrap this up, for Fox's sake, because again, I have friends over there. And Megan, for as many issues as you and I may have, we need Fox. We need a healthy, conservative alternative. And Newsmax is doing great, not knocking them. Their audience is exploding. But it's still, even with people leaving Fox, isn't Fox's audience, we need them healthy. What are we going to do? Watch MSNBC or CNN? They need to explain what happened with Tucker. You can't leave this out there in the ether because people are filling in the blanks and saying, because of ABCD, XYZ, and filling in their own reasons. They got to explain this, or I think that the problems are going to continue.
Well, Fox is in no danger of going out of business, but they're being taught a lesson right now by a very angry audience. And I support the lesson.
Yeah.
They've gotten too big for their own britches. They think they're the Fox News of 10 years ago, and they're not. They're on the way down. They're not on the way up anymore in terms of audience share and popularity. And they no longer have a monopoly for all the reasons you just stated. So some humility would serve them well right now in understanding their audience is their business. That is their entire business. You thumb the middle finger at those people, your business is over. They're your bosses. And to not even show them the courtesy of an explanation on their favorite host is absolutely disrespectful. And the audience is punishing them. It's punishing the whole primetime right now. And I think they're going to continue punishing the 8. They're now reportedly moving Hannity to 8, and they're going to put Jesse at 9, and they're going to put Gutfeld at 10. Laura moves to 7, according to the Drudge Report. I don't think that's smart right now because the audience likes Sean. He's been there for years. I know he's a good friend of yours. And I like Sean too, but they're punishing Fox. So don't take one of your biggest stars and line him up for punches in the face because he's going to get it too. He is going to get it next. And it's just not setting anybody up for success.
No, you're right. I mean, like Will Cain, for instance, was on this week. Everybody loves. Who doesn't like Will Cain? I mean, he's
a good
Will's
guy.
an impossible guy to not like. But the ratings are still not great. So your assertion there is absolutely correct. They're clearly not targeting them specifically because some shows have done okay. Like people, and the 5 seems to be holding up reasonably well. So I didn't care. I'll
go back to do 1. I got 1Q still to come and another one.
Fox is doing because they also cut ties with people like Laura Trump. And a lot of people wondering whether Fox is doing this intentionally without owning the fact that they're trying to cleanse themselves of people who were openly supportive of Trump or MAGA world or, the new MAGA Republican Party that they're trying to get back to their, quote, establishment roots. What do you think?
I got a lot of thoughts on this. First, I want to hit this point. I think there are a lot of people, not just at Fox, but in the media in general, who really don't understand new media. And I use you for an example. I actually used you on my show. It was about 2 weeks ago or so. I did a whole segment on your show because I didn't want to make the story about me. And I said, it's bizarre. They're writing, nobody can survive outside of Fox. They said, look at Megyn Kelly, who hasn't done much since. And I shook my head. I'm like, what a bunch of morons. Do they not understand? See, I understand the podcast space and I watch our rankings because I'm super competitive about everything. I know the audience you have. I can reasonably guess it. It's enormous. Forget even social or anything like that. I'm just talking about strict downloads and watches, right? So I'm reading these articles about how Glenn Beck, oh man, it's over for Glenn. Bill O'Reilly finished. Megyn hasn't done anything. That damn Bongino and Tucker, they're going to be finished. And I'm thinking, these people really don't get it. And I'm talking about media in general, but I'm not sure some people at Fox really understand that. They were good to me. I'm not going to knock them to me. The Tucker thing, I think, obviously was an enormous, catastrophic mistake. I have friends over there still. I enjoyed my time. I love them to death. And I'm not telling you anything I haven't told them. I just don't think they understand that a lot of people in cable news, Megan, are fighting yesterday's war. They beat CNN and it's over. That fight has been number 1 for 20 years. They're not the problem now. You're the problem. Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter with Elon. That's the problem. The space has been totally disaggregated right now. People can go put Megyn Kelly in a search engine and watch your show 1,000 different ways. They can watch clips on Twitter. People spread it around. And I did this whole thing on my show, and I did a simple internet search of Megyn Kelly. I'm like, wow, totally irrelevant. They only wrote about her 10 times today. I'm like, what kind of idiot thinks? And again, you're in my time slot.
One more part.
Not going to work to keep it out there like that. That this didn't happen because I think a lot of people think this may be some kind of anti-Trump thing. I got to say, I don't. That wasn't my case. My deal with Fox, I haven't
I
told
got
the story
3
anywhere
more
else. You get the
short
first
ones,
kind of
guys.
crack at this outside of what I said on my podcast.
1
But
more minute with
I was not
Q,
targeted. My show, they were
1
dying
Derek,
to
and
re
1
up for
2-minute
the.
one.
We negotiated for an entire year. So that I can't tell you like, oh, Fox got rid of me because they didn't. That's not the liberal, jerkwads are going to, Dan Bongino was fired. I just give them the middle finger. It's just stupid. They're just making it up. I was there. I negotiate my own deals. I don't have an agent. I do my own business deals. I don't need an agent. I do my own business, right? They wanted the show. I just had a different vision for my role at the network. And that's okay. I'm not the Saturday guy, Megan. I'm sorry. I can't work 6 days a week. I've got young kids. And I'm not working 6 days a week. And even though we recorded the show on Friday, the inside baseball of Fox. What happens when there's breaking news? Which with Trump out there is all the time. You got to be on. So I'm on a boat with my friend. I'm having a few adult sodas, maybe 1 too many adult sodas, not driving the boat. Don't worry about it. And all of a sudden you get a call. Hey, there's a balloon from China. We got to go live. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I'm in any condition to go live, but I'll give it a shot. And, I mean, not that I ever went on the air, but listen, it's hard. So I couldn't do it. And I said, I'm sorry, like that's not going to work out. So I definitely was not fired. Liberals are just making that up. But with the Tucker thing happening, a couple of people, people call you and stuff. And I was definitely, I'm not trying to, I don't want to put lipstick on this thing, but I'm not the easiest guy to deal with, Megan. I'm like a major PETA pain in the, you can figure out that I just am. Because I've got my own stuff. I've got my own investments. I've got Rumble. I've got my podcast, my radio show. And the thing I think your success out there on your own has bought you is freedom. Money buys freedom. I hate to say it, but it's true. I know you're not in this strictly for the cheese, but let's be honest. It buys you freedom. And I was in a position with them where I could walk away from a show on Fox and say, I'm sorry, that's not my vision. And it's different. But someone told me later that, in the end, they weren't that eager the last few weeks to make this thing work because, you could be a little aggravating to work with. And that, they're not wrong. And that's okay. Maybe I'm not a company guy in that respect.
I'm sure they're regretting it now.
I'm just not.
I mean, it's like,
I've got to, yeah.
You're one of the people they could have slid into that 8 o'clock time slot and won back over those angry viewers. So, I mean, talk about.
But
okay, Megan and Dan.
If
2 minutes.
there was free energy already, and they just charge us for the free energy that we already have. What if?
I heard that if you walk under a power line with a fluorescent bulb, it'll light up. Is this actually true? Well, let's try it. I found these big power lines to try this on. I'm pretty sure they're around 230 volt AC transmission lines. But can they actually light up a bulb in my hand? Well, let's try it. Okay, pick it up. Lightsaber on. Okay, look at this. Just reach it up and the entire thing lights up. It's almost like you touch your staff to the ground and it lights up. Look at that. I feel like a Power Ranger. None shall pass. That's crazy. It's literally like it plugs into a socket. This worked way better than I thought it would. Wherever my hand touched the bulb, it lit up. Or if I just touched the bulb to the ground, it lit up as well. It's like I could plug it into the ground. This was so weird to see in real life. It felt a little tingly in my hand, and you could kind of feel it vibrating, but nothing close to feeling like I was getting shocked or anything. Even in areas where it was bright from the street lights, you could easily see the bulb light up in my hand. This was so surprising how easy it was to get this to work. It's crazy because this power line, they just go right over the houses here. Some people have it literally the pole in their backyard. Wonder if they can feel it in their house.
I mean, what if? What if? What if? What if we already have it? And they're just charging us by the amount of free energy we're using? Nothing would shock me. Nothing. You could tell me that the sky is purple and I'd be like, yeah, probably. Nothing shocks me anymore.
I guarantee that's what they're doing.
These motherfuckers.
Okay. Sorry about that one, you guys. That was a weird one.
Force Captain coming at you once again. I hope you guys are having a
3
great
minutes.
day. I just wanted to share a video that's been spreading around on TikTok that is basically talking about a lot of misinformation about what the actual Space Force is and what they can do. Check out a brief clip, and I'll try and square some things away.
Hold on, time out. So Space Force is in charge right now of the military command, or what did you say, the military news?
Well, everything, all broadcasts, all internet. They have the power to shut it down. They have the power to control it, which they've been doing. Same thing.
I don't know who Derek Johnson or who the other guy is, but what they're saying is completely incorrect. Let's see into some more.
That's how they will shut it all down right there, Space Force. That's why he created it in the first place.
Space Force don't mean going out of space. It don't mean getting in a shuttle, popping out. We're talking about cyberspace.
You briefly mentioned cyberspace, which isn't all the way incorrect, but just to let you know, cybersecurity is very important.
So sometimes you just got to be patient and wait. So 2 years ago, this douche canoe came out of nowhere, never heard of this person in my life, made this video, right? Took a little clip, and basically, in reality, has nothing to do with the military whatsoever. This is a douche canoe, a douche bag, a shit bag is what we call them in the military, who's using their active duty uniform to try to advance their secondary desires and wishes. But we won't pay mention to that because that's exactly what they want. Here's the main gist, though. Because of that and that selfishness and using the military and using the uniform, which is sacred to all of us veterans who know what the uniform's actually for, this douche canoe was trying to gain publicity and was recruited by a small network out there to try to take me down or clickbait, make publicity, and is the very person who took it one step further. This same shitbag is the one who tried to steal my federal trademark and quickly found out that it's first to use, not first to file, which is a federal law, which you would go into a federal court to sort that out if you ever took it to court. And also is the same shitbag who also I have loads of evidence recruiting different kinds of people trying to use fake Photoshop and narratives that I was talking to certain kinds of females out there, which counts as frame up, which is also felony in most states if it were tried into a court of law. And then guess what took place? All of a sudden, article comes out just a few days ago, March 2025, and all of a sudden just shows you that this douche canoe, all he wanted was publicity. All he wants is, hey, look at me for the wrong reasons. Has nothing to do with his oath, nothing to do with the military. All right, because that short clip that he took is a short clip where I was asked if a certain scenario took place, what would it look like? And I said that, hey, in August 2022 and December 2022, the Space Force took over all communications of the Army and the Navy, all right, which means all communications. The Space Force also took over the ground missile warning system by the Army. So a lot of change is taking place. President Trump established the Space Force December the 20th, 2019. And this douche canoe who's seeking ulterior motives for his own gain ends up going to look like egg all over his face, but also because the douchebag tried to created a Facebook page using my brand, my image, my likeness that I've had in use for almost 3 years now, and then tried to go to the USPTO, .gov, name forever there, letter of abandonment forever there. The dude claimed that it was such a legal move. So it's such a legal move that filed for a letter of abandonment because I blasted he and his minions who were seeking to do harm with defamation, slander, and libel. All right, which is still, I can still pursue this. The statute of limitations is pretty long on this. So old Douche Canoe probably needs to keep his mouth shut and eat this. So do you remember this?
Okay, one DJ to finish off for today. I got Q.
Situation and get you every dollar you deserve. So hand off your taxes to a local TurboTax expert today.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Darkness. I am Q. I'm smiling because even though the wheels of justice may turn slowly, they just got to keep on moving. And as long as they keep on moving, things are happening. Now, I know I get frustrated when things don't go as quickly as they should. And I know I get really upset when I feel that people aren't doing their job. But if one thing comes out of this Trump presidency, please let it be getting to the bottom of our election shenanigans. It has to be. That is the key to all of this. That's bigger than Epstein even, because at the end of the day, if elites, it's the same people. It's the same people. The elites, if they feel that they can fiddle around with our vote, if they can convince people that their vote doesn't matter, we are dealing with a dictatorship. We are dealing with an autocratic system. It's going to be a mess. So the FBI went in this week or today and seized all election data in Maricopa County. Now, those of you guys that have been following me for a long time, way back when, 5 years ago, you guys remember me talking about Maricopa County. Maricopa County was the center of all of it. If you guys think that Fulton County in Georgia was bad, if you think that Detroit, Michigan was bad, Maricopa County was the granddaddy of all of it. We're talking hundreds of thousands of absentee ballots that were from people who didn't live in the state, that snowbirds that lived other places. We're talking about ballots with no chain of custody. We're talking about ballots where the envelope had a different signature than the ballot itself. Guys, we're talking huge shenanigans, and the FBI went in and seized all that data. This was just a week or two after Kristi Noem was there and served them notice that it was coming. And of course, she said, don't throw anything. All this needs to be set aside. And the FBI has seized it all. So I am super excited because, again, guys, I know I'm harping on this and some of you guys might not understand why this is so important. But what makes America America? That no matter who you are, whether you are a fast food worker, whether you are a bricklayer, whether you are a multi-billionaire, whether you're a salesperson, whoever you are in this country, if you are a citizen, it is your birthright, once you turn 18, to be able to choose your leaders, to choose your representatives. And the idea that someone would attempt to steal that away from you, your God-given, your birthright, is a problem. And it can only happen so long before an entire generation becomes disenfranchised and feels like, why should I even bother? They're going to select who they want to select. And we already know that this is the case. They did it with Biden, and then Biden turned around and did it with Kamala. The people didn't choose Kamala. Kamala was selected because Biden got in through the means that he got in. He felt like, hey, I might as well just appoint somebody else to the ticket. So rather than have a primary, like is what's reasonable and customary, Biden just said, I choose her. She's your nominee. So if you guys want somebody on this side, you got to vote for her. That's what they did. They stripped the American people on that side of the aisle from a choice. And at the end of the day, I'm against that every single time. But this is big news. It's huge. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think in the bottom. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel, please.
Okay, ending it with Q tonight. All right, everybody. News for today for Monday. 2 shows again. One day at a time. I hope I can get 2 shows in each day. See how things go just day by day. Thanks so much. Okay, fine. There you go. Carol's missing tonight. Tim, Lucy. And God bless everybody. Love all. Please like and make sure everybody, you guys got all the new people, go to the description box and please sub to the backup channels. And thank you. Okay, everybody. So stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off. Chico and Dude again. Another night of good intel day. And we'll see you all tomorrow.